Hi, guys, welcome to another episode of Breaking the Myth. And today we are actually going to look at what is depression, what is anxiety, because in today's world it is becoming more and more common, whether it's clinical or whether it is something that has come into our regular vocabulary, where it's very easy for us to say, hey, you know what, I'm depressed, you know what, I'm feeling anxious about something that's happened in life. So we have with us Kavita, who has been in this space for more than 12 years. She's an internationally certified and accredited workshop facilitator, therapist, and life coach. And I think her main specialization is meta health, where she looks at physical and psychological diseases from a point of view of traumas, events, memories, events which have happened in your life. So, welcome, Kavita.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Deepti.
This is a very interesting topic for me personally because I have a lot of conversations with people where just by the way people mention that, you know what, I was feeling very depressed, you know what, I am depressed because of which I can't do this. I mean, it's an excuse which I feel we are using more and more commonly and more and more
Thanks
often.
to the internet, we have too much of information over there. So even if you don't have depression, people have now started feeling depressed,
Yes.
right? But yes, a lot of us are right now in that space where we are in depression, even if
Mhm.
it is, as you said, not clinical depression. But it is like, when life happens and we don't know how to deal with it, we don't have the resources to deal with it. We feel powerless at that time.
Right.
A lot of depression is setting in. So now from the meta health point of view, if I were to get into it, like then it will be like getting into a technical part and the class of teaching that whole thing subject, but that's not what we are aiming at. So what
Right.
I will say that depression right now is when everybody knows that there is a left hemisphere and a right hemisphere
Yeah.
in the brain, correct? Depending on who you are, your personality, when a conflict hits one hemisphere of your brain,
Hmm.
that part shuts down.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say I go through a conflict and the right hemisphere shuts down.
Hmm.
Only the left hemisphere is there. That
Right.
then starts depression, which is a mild form of behavioral change, the way your mood changes, and all those things. But when both the hemispheres shut down because of conflicts, then you have full fledged proper depression.
So when we talk about anxiety or panic attacks, how are they? Are they signs of onset of depression or are they something very different?
No, anxiety is where there is so much of fear, there is so much of that hyper energy that does not literally let you do anything. It's like you get paralyzed,
Right.
but it is not the paralysis of the body. It is like the paralysis of your brain,
Okay.
where you can't think clearly, you don't know what to do, you feel that you don't have a direction. That fear is so huge that it does not allow you to do anything. Phobias come under these anxiety attacks.
Okay.
Okay, like so the phobia of closed places, phobia of heights. So if you have ever noticed these people in those situations, even if you're trying to pull them out from there, you can't do it.
Right.
They're paralyzed over there, frozen. But in depression, when people say, I don't feel like doing anything, it is because they just don't have the energy to move.
So anxieties are momentarily in the sense something
Yes,
happens, you get it and you get over it.
yes. Like if that person is in therapy, and maybe the therapist has given that strategy that whenever you're in this place, just breathe, count till 10, let that whole thing settle down. Maybe that person will able to get out of it. But in depression, that person, if it is gone into a full-fledged depression, for them even to get up and go and have a bath is like a very, very big task.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So when we are talking of psychological issues, we need to understand that that person needs a lot of support, because most of the time they can't do things on their own. So that doesn't mean you have to go and give a bath to that person, but some way motivate that person to go and do it.
Right. So how does therapy help in such issues?
Again, therapy helps in identifying the hidden, Our
Mhm.
unexpected, dramatic, isolating, no strategy moment, which has started this issue. But what we need to remember here is that when depression has happened, that means the two hemispheres have shut down. So we are not looking at only one conflict, there can be multiple conflicts over there. Each conflict needs to be picked up and cleaned up. All the triggers need to be cleared out, and then slowly the depression can be taken care of.
Right. So a lot of people these days are on antidepressant or anxiety pills. And in my experience, there are a lot of side effects of these pills which are not spoken about. So, what
Yes.
has been your experience of, let's say, if a client comes who is going through depression but is not on pills, and a client comes who's undergoing depression but is on pills?
The biggest difference is that whatever little bit your brain works, functions, that also shuts down with the pills. It puts you in a numb state. That person you will find is only sleeping the whole day, and they are in a very, very difficult place.
So, what purpose do these pills serve?
It is like, how do I tell you? They don't go into aggression, because what is the opposite of depression? It is aggression.
Right.
So the minute the trigger is off, the depression comes down, these people go into aggression. So if you know anybody who has been in depression, you will also find it difficult to deal with their anger. Because when that anger comes up, again, these people are literally uncontrollable. So again, the way I have even said earlier, if you find certain symptoms that are pointing towards depression, like sadness, not wanting to do anything, you're feeling very heavy in your body, sleeping disorders, eating disorders, please first work on yourself, get therapies done. So at least the side effects of these medicines don't come in your way. They affect not only your brain, they affect your body entirely. They even start affecting your periods.
Yes. I think
So
weight gain is something which is very common. PCOD
weight
is
gain,
something.
nausea, feeling of vomiting all the time.
Yeah.
And it is like even 12 hours of sleep is not enough for them. So definitely therapy cannot be more worse than this.
True.
It
True.
will only definitely do something good to you only.
So, what are some of the common trigger points that you have found in your experience of dealing with people with mental health issues?
Depression, right from something as simple as my doll was taken away without asking me, to a heartbreak,
Mm-hmm.
to my house being taken away from me. All of them can cause depression. And whether we like it or not, especially because in our country we don't talk about these things, sex is taboo.
Mm-hmm.
About sexual things is taboo, but a lot of sexual conflicts lead to depression.
Right.
When a woman is not prepared for her entire pregnancy and delivery, and she doesn't have the right kind of support system, she goes through postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And now at least we are a little bit aware of it, but maybe in my generation, people didn't even know that they were depressed
Yeah.
after the delivery of their children. They just know that it was very difficult for them.
Yeah. And especially when in India, the adults keep saying that, what, are bacha paida kiya, you should be happy. That whole maternal love has to come up. Whereas they don't realize that before that maternal love, your body has gone through so much changes emotionally, mentally, physically.
Because whether we like it or not, Dipti, everything is being governed by your hormones.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, female hormones, we know it is estrogen and progesterone. Male hormones, androgens and testosterone. Every disease in your body, especially when they say hormonal imbalance, is the dance of these two groups of hormones. So at one point we used to call horoscopes as horoscopes. I even call hormones as hormones. They create complete havoc in your body. So
Yeah.
it is like when the female hormones are very low, you are in depression. When female hormones are fine, but the male hormones go up in your body, you are in aggression. So it's like you are going through so much without even understanding. Suddenly you are in a menopausal state, depression has come in. Why?
Again,
Because
hormonal.
there is no more female hormone.
Yeah.
Till you're dealing with the depression, you suddenly go into aggression. Because why? Testosterone is increasing.
Increasing.
You start getting chin hair. You start losing hair. Your skin, nails, everything is getting affected for a woman. Obviously, she doesn't know how to deal with it. And it
And
is
there is
going to
no
put
help.
her into mood swings.
Yeah.
The worst is the men in their lives don't know how to deal with their women. Neither did they know how to deal with them when they were having PMS, periods, delivery, post delivery, and menopause. No ways they know how to handle it.
Most of the time, as women, we don't realize that we're going through perimenopausal or we are going through menopause. It's something which is told to us that you take it as a part of your life. You had periods,
Agreed.
now you don't have periods.
Agreed. But do you realize what does it mean that you don't have periods? You've gone back to being that 13-year-old before your period started.
Yeah.
So you're going through the same puberty kind of things all over again.
But in reverse.
But now you're 50. At 13, maybe you could even throw a tantrum. At 50, you can't even do that.
True.
So when we are talking about depression, we need to check sexual conflicts. We need to see social conflicts. What do you mean by social conflicts? I can't make friends. Nobody likes me. These are all social conflicts. How are we managing ourselves out in the society? And how is society responding to us?
Yes.
Then we have territorial conflicts. My boyfriend was taken away by my best friend. My wife left me for some another man. These all become your territorial conflicts. Loss of job, loss of a loved one.
I think even
So
when a new member comes into the family, like let's say whether it's a kid or a marriage or something, and you're living in a joint family, there is a territorial conflict.
100%. How many mother-in-laws have really been able to fully
Yeah.
embrace a daughter-in-law coming into their lives? Forget their life first, intolerances towards a daughter-in-law stepping into their son's life.
Yeah.
So many times I come up with this question to all these women that if you're not ready to let your son go, why are you getting them married? नहीं पर वो तो शादी तो करनी ही होती है ना. It's like the way we spoke. थायराइड तो हो ही जाता है, डायबिटीज तो होता ही है, ये तो होता ही है. What's the big deal? तो शादी तो करनी ही है, but you're not ready.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotionally, you are not ready to let go of your son. And then the whole drama that is going to get created around it. Obviously, people are going in depression.
Yeah. That's why I always advise people that when you have a major event coming up, like let's say a marriage or even retirement or you're getting pregnant, it's always nice to have someone as a therapist in your life so that you can, work through it and not create lifelong issues around it.
I think along with Aadhaar card, we somewhere need to have this card where it says that, you need 10 therapies during puberty, 10 therapies after puberty. You need 10 therapies before you get married,
Married,
after you get married, when
before
you
you
have
have a kid.
after you have your children, when your
Yeah.
children are going to get married, after they are getting married, and then when you are ready for your retirement, if you are ever ready for it. These are such important changes that are happening in your life, which are governed by hormones.
Yeah.
So if you are not going to be ready at that time, there is going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine a newlywed girl has come into the house? Her estrogen levels are really nice and high. She has to be the woman for the man. And here you have a mother-in-law who's going through menopause, who's aggressive, who's moved into her male energy. What is going to happen here? Think.
Yeah. Constant fights, conflicts between the two of them.
And then you have this boy in between, who's constantly shifting between his male and female side, doesn't know, do I be the man for my woman or do I be the son for my mother?
It's a very interesting visual that you have given us.
That's what happens. The peer pressure that is there today,
Yeah.
that is creating so much of depression.
Social media is creating a lot of depression with those perfect images, perfect figures, perfect makeup, perfect dresses, perfect life.
Perfect holidays.
Perfect holidays. Nobody knows what's happening behind.
That's the biggest trigger.
Yeah.
You see pictures of people in Mauritius and you're like, I don't have the money to go for it. I don't have a partner to go for it. It's such a beautiful place. I'm missing out on something so important.
Which was never in your dream list, first of all. It
It was never there.
was never there.
It was at one point, even from Bombay, if you could go all the way to Lonavala, it was a big deal. Maybe from Bangalore, where you are, you go to Ooty, you go to Coorg, great.
Yeah.
But today it is like, until and unless you don't have an international holiday, you don't have a social status.
Hmm.
Now, when you have created so much of pressure on yourself, one day you are going to buckle down under that. And then that's where the onset of depression is.
Right. So when you deal with mental health cases, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face as a therapist?
One very big challenge that I face is that they don't relapse. Because if the triggers come back, or if they say that, I put in the effort, but now nothing has changed for me,
Hmm.
then to take them back on that path of trying or putting in that effort, or, again giving it a shot, they lose the motivation for that.
Right.
And of course, if they are under any kind of pills, and if I have to do the therapy, I have to tell them to not take the pills at least 48 hours before therapy, because it interferes with the therapy. They are not able to think clearly, they can't feel anything. And your healing does not happen till you have felt what you need to feel.
Right.
They are so, like, numb even in the therapy. You tell them that, okay, fine, you're feeling like crying, cry it out. No, I don't want to cry out. I have to be the strong one. Feel your anger, let that anger come out. What's the point? They are not going to listen to me. So if there is too much of logic also that's coming in the way, then that is where my very big challenge is there.
Yeah. So, guys, if you're feeling any of the symptoms that we have discussed today, please reach out either to us or anybody else who's there in your life who can help you, because it's not
And
worth it to go through depression and anxiety.
I would really like to add one thing over here, Dipti. When we are talking of psychological symptoms, please don't look only at anxiety and depression. Eating disorders are also a psychological problem. If people have heard of the term bulimia and anorexia, where you literally kill yourself to be at a particular figure and weight, it is a psychological disorder.
Psychological disorder. Any kind of addiction is a psychological disorder.
Addiction is a psychological disorder. Your autism, ADHD, it's a psychological disorder. Constantly feeling fear, what we call as paranoia, that is
That,
also psychological disorder.
yeah.
Being a Casanova, it is a psychological
I
disorder.
think anything if you do in extremes, like you don't do at all, or you do in the other extreme, is a psychological disorder, because life is all about
Yes,
balance.
yes, exactly. So we feel that, when today you see a Casanova, you say, oh wow, he's such a cool dude, like, handsome, he can get any girl that he wants. And then you realize that this person cannot even emotionally connect with anybody.
Commitment phobia, unemotional, emotionally
Exactly. These
unavailable.
all are coming under your psychological issues because there is no physical symptom. Anything that does not have a physical symptom in your body but still is bothering you, it is there constantly in your head, it is a psychological symptom.
That's a very important thing that you have said, that not just what the mental health institutes tell us, that
Yes,
ABCD are this, but there's so many things other than those which also come under psychological issues, which can be helped through therapy. Because most people think that they can't be helped, but most of those can be helped through therapy.
especially when you are also living in the today's technological and terminology. I mean, I
Yeah.
had to really learn the new terminologies. What is FOMO? I didn't know what was FOMO, but I realized that that is also psychological issue.
That is. FOMO is a big thing today. A lot of people end up getting into financial debts. A lot of people get into abusive relationships because of FOMO.
Instant gratification is another problem.
Yeah.
So all these things are then leading to further and severe psychological issues.
Issues. So really a suggestion, don't wait for it to become severe. If you already see signs of these in your behavior or in people around you, please reach out for help, either to us or to anybody else, but do reach out for help.
Please.
Yeah. So do that, and we are always here. You have our details in the comment section. So reach out to us in case you think that you or anybody else needs help. Thank you so much, Kavita.
Thank you, Dipti. Thank you